Good afternoon and welcome to Talking Horses. I'm Maggie Wolfendale filling in for the vacationing Andy Serling. Greg Wolf also on vacation too, but to my left, the big man, Big A, Anthony Stabile.
I like that, the big man, like Clarence Clemens, the late great Clarence Clemens.
Well, I was going to say the big shrinking man.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
91.
That's amazing.
91 pounds.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you're doing it the right way.
It's like
slow,
a jockey.
steady way. Yeah, exactly.
No,
it's Eric Cancel. it's
Eric
one
Cancel?
Eric Cancel, I think.
I know the Hall of Famer Julie Crone was like, I went past Julie Crone a while ago. She was like 87.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she's tiny. Well, we do have an 8-race car for you. We are fast on the main track. And an interesting feature, we did see a defection in there and Life is Great, but for the 2-year-olds coming up a little bit later, in which we will get to. No carryovers to speak of, but we do have, as always, the sign-up bonus. So if you want to play today's races, make sure you do so with the only ADW in town. That's Naira Bets, as you will get that $200 deposit match bonus using promo code, bonus 200. Check out nairabets.com. And then also coming up this Saturday, we have that $20 win bet bonus. Hit the $25 win bet, get 20 back in the Springboard Mile at Remington. Make sure you opt in to reap those benefits.
Derby points on the line in that Springboard Mile.
Is it?
I believe so.
Well, last year it wasn't because
there were, but if you don't use Lasix,
exactly.
If you don't use Lasix, you get the points.
Right.
Now, Senor Buscador
Well
used Lasix, and he did not get his points. But I believe the second and third place finishers ran naked without the Lasix and did get 5 and 2 points. So
yep, you are right.
4 and 2 points, maybe.
Yeah, no, you're right.
10-4, 2-1. So.
Yeah, 10-4, 2-1. As we'll jump right into it, race number 1, maiden 40 for the 3-year-olds and up, going to 6 furlongs in here. Anthony, you know, this is kind of all a little bit about the Mitch Friedman show early on here in this winter meet. Will Mitch go 4 for 5?
4 for 5, and you know what? Karamoka looked home Jerome.
I know.
That was my fault.
Yeah, too much weight?
I was live in a big double.
Yeah.
Way too much. Even with the weight loss, way too much weight on Karamoka. I was on her. Phil was on her. Our man Mark Hirschman was on her. So Mark actually owns a piece of this filly.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, you know, there is not much positive form to go off of in this race. And I'm just going to ride the barn that started off, you know, wielding a powerful sword to start this meet. Mitch's horses are running. You know, they're in the right spots.
That's the thing. You know, people always are
well,
somewhat critical. But 2, they're in the right spots now. And a lot of times, you know, as horses, after running, they kind of round into form. They get better. And then so therefore, in those conditions, you've gotten rid of all the horses you need to beat.
And let's be completely honest here. A couple of those fields, if Mitch and Richard Greeley walked around the Belmont Barn area and picked out the horses eligible for the condition, they couldn't have found easier spots.
Right.
Let's call a spade a spade.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this might be the cherriest spot they're going to pick.
Because the main horse that she has to beat is the one that I put on top very reluctantly, is the Equine Chandelier Supreme, Wicked Happy.
0-4-20.
I know.
Blinkers going back on. I'm sorry, you should talk about her.
Well, the thing is that her dirt races of earlier this year, I should say, are good. They make her very, not necessarily the horse to beat, but definitely the major player of this group here, and possibly was running against some better horses, just narrowly defeated. On January 18th, she broke slow, ran off while 6 wide, went wide the whole way, and then just came up short. Understandably, yes, on March 19th, she should have won. She hung. She did her hanging act. But this is the first time back on dirt at a suitable distance. I've never thought she wanted to run long as she goes the 6 furlongs today with the blinkers on. I'm hoping it's all a recipe for success for my good friend Leah Giamatti, who looked very live in this early double.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Again, the problem with her, and to an extent the problem with Alita, the number 3, who's actually your 7-5 morning line favorite, is there's no real sprint form to go off of. I don't disagree with anything you said about Wicked Happy. Kind of looks like if the cutback doesn't help, I don't know what they're going to do, because I don't know if she's ever going to win going long.
She gets there. She literally has had the lead in some races and just says, "Oh no, you
Now,
go
some
ahead."
horses could go 5.5. Some horses go 5 miles.
She's the
They're
most
going to get there and they're going to stop.
You know, she's the most polite horse that we have, I'm sure, running today.
After you. After you.
Go right ahead. I'll hold the door for you. But Alita, I know she's the morning line favorite. She's a drop down in here, but is she really a drop down out of that Indiana Grand race? I mean, the horse that won there got to stroll along on the front end, was the prohibitive favorite. And I'm sorry, watching that race in which she was in the Mike Baker barn, she was lucky to be second.
But how about her pedigree and price tag in for the 40 immediately upon her arrival in the Big Apple?
And Rob does not have good numbers with this move.
Does not.
He, first time after the trainer change with maidens, 2 for 17.
And the barn, which went a little quiet, looked like it was heating up a little bit as the weekend ended. We'll see what happens. I mean, look, they're going to ask you to take short prices on the 3 horses that make a lot of sense. If any of the other 4 win this, Maggie, I'd be very, very surprised.
Yeah,
But
they're the main 3.
They're asking you to take some short prices on some
Untrustworthy.
unreliable horses. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like your selection. I could have gone either way with the Mitch Friedman or Leah Giramati horses. Leah well represented here in race number 2, which is a claiming 25, going the 6 furlongs. She will send out Rejected Again, whose last 2 fast dirt sprints are way better, I think, personally, than many of the other horses in here.
Yeah, they are. You know, my problem is when you get beat that far, and namely in the Baby Yoda race, I always feel like those figs are a little dressed up, and Baby Yoda has not come close to repeating that figure.
Yeah, but the horses behind him have run well.
Yeah, they have. I put this horse 3rd. I'm sorry, I did not use this horse. I did not use Rejected Again. This is one of those races where I felt like there was enough speed in here. And that was, I think, my biggest problem with Rejected Again.
But doesn't that make him sit the most?
Yeah, but I kind of feel like his better races were when he was forward. I know they weren't as fast as Figs, but I felt like his best results are when he's able to be forward. But listen, if you told me one of 6 horses won this race, I had a hard time finding winning drive, but the other 6, I think you can make an easy case for the other 6. The other 6 have races on their card or in their history that would all get the job done in here.
Now, we both did land on Mitre Porciento, who Linda Rice went down to Kentucky at Keeneland, picked him up out of that 40, in which it was a merry-go-round race. Now, a lot of times the adage is, well, you went Linda with the confidence, and this is him with the huge figure that he won back on February 13th. In hindsight, maybe these horses, their form didn't kind of play out, but when they were running, they were all in relatively good form. So it's shown that definitely doesn't mind it here at the Big A. The thought is that usually you want Linda when she's raising a horse or showing confidence, but really her first off the claim numbers, no matter where she goes, I even looked, I didn't send it in because it didn't apply for a 50% drop in class. I think she's almost 30%.
Wow.
So it can go either way. And last time out, Coppertown just led them on a merry chase. Nobody really changed positions in that Keeneland.
And that's the thing, too. Coppertown, New Bomb, Town Classic, Chateau when Chateau was good, Wicked Trick when Wicked Trick was good, Happy Farm. He's running against horses that would bury this field. There are and now he's catching a couple of horses. He's catching Aristocratic, who just looks like he's overall seen better days. He's got plenty of speed. Bourbon Mission's going to go to the dirt for the winter because there's no turf racing, right?
Well, you have him second. Why do you like him?
I just thought, I felt like even though they're not winning, Rudy's horses are all running. And I thought, again, if there was going to be some pace in here, and when Aristocratic's around, there usually is, I thought maybe these 2 horses would come running a little bit as a team.
But his last effort and his efforts when he wins is when he is on the front end.
Yeah.
And those were against turf horses. Advance notice, he is what he is. But,
right.
I mean, it was an off the turf race. So I couldn't trust him. And furthermore, he does feel like a little bit more of a turf horse. So therefore, a sloppy sealed track, as I always say, mimics a turf course a bit more.
Yeah, I don't.
He was the one I just didn't care for that much.
See,
he's 6-1. So
right. He was the one where I thought he was a little bit of a fuzzy, A, because of his price, B, Baby I'm Perfect Did not beat the toughest bunch sprinting last time, going 7. Now he's got to cut back to 6. He's probably better going to 7. Fast Break won a condition. Fast Break is your 3-to-1 morning line second choice. And he's coming out of a 3 lifetime where he beat Mandatory Payout and The Right Path.
I mean,
Mandatory Payout's in tomorrow.
Yeah.
In a race where he looks like he's a logical contender,
right?
But it's still it's a 3 life.
Yeah.
Mitres Porciento's won 13 times.
And 2, he won when the Actress Barn at the first few weeks of the Aqueduct meeting was guns a-blazing. And Orlando Notice, I mean, his meet has gone really well too, but it just feels like those horses that have run back for Rob, whether in his barn or not, during that time period, have not recreated their figures.
That's A, and B, I'll say this too, Maggie. You know, Andy would go after me for this. How much was it the wet track last time? And this horse jumped up last night. He's had a good trip outside and just rolled on a muddy track.
But his time before that.
I know. That's what I'm trying to say. I think it was just a combination of things where he was ready to roll last time. I put him 3rd in here just because, you know, the Nota Barn is going well right now. We both have Baby on Perfect in there. But again, these are 2 horses in here that are 3-to-1 and 7-to-2 on the morning line that are coming out of suspect races, number 1, and 2, coming off the claim. And let's see the new barns replicate what the old barns did.
I'm interested to see what Charlie Baker can do as well with Aristocratic, a horse that is the speed of the speed in here. He has the rail position. Dylan Davis has one job to do. Let's see what Charlie can do. It's usually Charlie, if he can resurrect a horse's career, it's not first off the claim. It's usually after they've been in his barn for a while. Moving on to race number 3. This does kick off the pick 6, going a mile on the main track, maiden 20 here, and we'll start by talking about your 8-to-5 favorite, Strong Point. She looks pretty strong in here, Anthony.
I mean, if you're playing a pick 6, this looks like 6s and 8s, and you got to feel pretty comfortable.
This is her getting sawed off. Well, just intimidating. You know, she's one of those fillies you watch. She hates other horses. You watch her with the lead pony. She doesn't want to get near it. She wants to bite, blah, blah, blah. So the fact she got crowded coming out of the gate, she was like, oh, no, thanks. But then, look at this move here.
Yeah, I mean, she even after getting mugged coming out of there, she got mugged pretty good coming out of there. She runs really well in here. Now she makes her first start from Marcelo Arenas, who was a longtime assistant to Gary Contessa, and then more recently, Leah Giamatti. Yeah, Matula came back to win pretty impressively off of this effort. So
improved her figure.
Yeah, improved her fig like 5 points. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, she makes a lot of sense. Where's she been? You know, it's 2.5 months. Where's she been? Obviously, that's always an issue. She was in for the quarter for the first time last time. There's no lower, so she's in for the 25 down to 20 here. She's in for the 20 here. So, yeah, I mean, I thought it was a coin flip between her and the 6. Incontrovertible?
Incontrovertible.
Do we even know what that means?
No idea. Is it a made-up word or is it a real word?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But she's only had 1 race on a fast track. That was against Maiden Special Weight Company down at Laurel, albeit almost 1.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. But it is the second start for Ned Allard.
And Andy's not here to pick a Ned Allard horse, so I felt like I needed to.
Okay.
I needed to wave the flag.
Okay.
In a coin flip, I'm going to take the horse that might be a little bit at a better price, and that was it. But I mean, early pick 4, early pick 5, pick 6. I'm using 6s and 8s, and I know that in these races, right, where they're not the most reliable bunch, you want to go and try and maybe search for a price, search for a fuzzy. I'll tell you what, you come up with one here, maybe first time Pat Reynolds, the number 9 summary judgment. Wow, has this horse lost ground in both of her starts, man? Oh,
I know.
Man. She's tough. She's a tough pill to swallow, and she took money last time. She was less than 10-1 in her debut. She was 5.5-1 last time, and she didn't run 2 steps for the last 3/8 of a mile in either race. So, kind of hard to think that Pat's just going to come here and turn that around. Maybe he does off 3.5 months. I don't know how long he's. You know, she's been training here since November, so Pat's probably had her a month and a half at this point. I don't know what to do with her. I guess if there's a fuzzy in here, it would be her. But, man, off those 2 races, Maggie.
Yeah, I think it's a hard 8-6, 6-8 exacta in here. Yeah. I really couldn't make anybody else, as our TD Steve just said, incontrovertible, not easily denied. So maybe she will be today.
Not easily denied?
Yeah.
I like that word. I'm going to have to start using that too.
Yeah. Race number 4, claiming 25, non-3 life, going the mile in here. This does kick off the late pick 5, in which we do see 2-1 favoritism on There's a Storm a Brewin'. I always want to say a Bruin, but it's just There's a Storm Brewin', who will go second off the claim for Rob Atras. And I really think this horse ran very well in defeat. The pace kind of coming apart. He was the only one that stayed, and the winner, Handy, blew the break, rallied from last to eventually just get up and win by a nose.
I'm going to take responsibility for this one too. I made a nice bet on this horse this day, and I kind of liked him this day. I felt like the stars were aligned. And like you said, Mac, he's the only one that kind of survived the pace. He ran really, really well this day. I kind of feel like even though he got beat last time was the time, doesn't really make any sense because he didn't win. So it's not like we cashed on him last time was the time, but he ran really well. And
he also, and I'm going to be chastised by Andy, but he might be a horse that prefers a wet track. Like
he
has no wins over a dry track. And he often gets to run on a wet track, luckily for him. I just couldn't get over the fact that he ran so well. Granted, again, it was in the Atras barn when they were really doing well. So I understand where you could take shots against him. But for me, I mean, who else is going to run with him here?
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? And he has multiple wet track figs that are better than his dry track figs, which is, I think, kind of corroborates that idea. And it's part of the reason I didn't like him. Oh, mandatory payouts in here. I thought it was tomorrow. I don't know why I thought that.
I get him confused too.
Yeah, I picked him today.
That's why I didn't correct.
Sure. It's all blurred into one beating at this point. Yeah, I don't know. And that's part of the reason, to be honest with you, I have him second, because especially now with Profusion coming out, and that's a huge, it's probably the biggest scratch on the card. There's a scratch out of the feature as well that you mentioned, but this scratch is probably the biggest on the card because at the very least, if you were leaning on that entry later, Hagler still looks like he's going to be 3 to 5. Now, this horse, Profusion, was going to lean on favoritism, and he was going to be the one that was going to put the pressure on There's a Storm Brewin'. I don't know who that job is left to now. Is it a colt named Susie? Ralph D'Alessandro's putting blinkers on the 9. Now, I don't particularly like this horse today. But he gets blinkers, gets Trevor McCarthy. Ralph came down here last winter when Finger Lakes closed, and Ralph had a really, really good season last year.
He typically does. I mean, his horses show up at least.
He won a lot of races last year, and he won with some big prices as well. So keep an eye on Ralph when he first comes down. And this is the kind of horse where, maybe he slept this horse a little bit. And again, with Profusion coming out, it might put a colt named Susie a little closer.
Sure. Obviously, Spectator List provides a bit of early pace too. But I just thought, I don't know, I just thought There's a Storm Brewin' based off his last effort was definitely one that you wanted in here. We both used mandatory, as you said. I think comes out of a decent race at Parks. Big City Boy came back and ran a 72. He was third in the Champagne going back a ways. So he's a quality animal. That's kind of really I just don't want number 2, Mr. Briggs. Yeah. Well, he's 8 to 1 on the morning line, so I guess.
I thought mandatory payout kind of found a good spot today. And again, this is what Profusion was in here, and I thought would put a little pressure on There's a Storm Brewin'. But still, the fact that I think There's a Storm Brewin' does like the moisture in the track, maybe he comes back to them. It looked like mandatory payout got a lot out of his last race. I like the fact that Jimmy Ryerson ran him 7/8 too. I know whatever race comes up, but I think the fact that he ran him the 7/8, he's never missed the. We talk about how these horses at these levels can be a little unreliable sometimes. He's hit the board in all 6 of his starts at a mile. Win 2 seconds and 3/3. So he's kind of a logical horse. If you think There's a Storm Brewin' might be better on a wet track, and maybe Spectator List or a colt named Susie could put some pressure on the favorite, I think he's the most logical second winner here.
All right, do we break here?
We do.
All right, well, stay tuned. We'll have the late pick 4 for you after this break on Talking Horses.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on Talking Horses. Magany, who's that?
Would that be like our
yeah.
Jennifer? Magany. Hi, we're Magany. Morley, that was not me, Morley, that was her. Just so you know, that was not planned. That just came flying out of her mouth. Magany.
Magany.
Boom.
Magany and Anthony here for the late pick
That was
for
great.
race number 5. 6 furlongs, claiming none to life for 16. And we did see one of the speed horses scratch in here. That's number 5, Forgotten Mission. But still a field of 11 going postward. And I don't know, this was a field of untrustworthy entrance, and I just thought Maddie's Marauder was the most trustworthy at the level.
I wanted to pick your brain about this race. I don't have a good grip. I'll see who Maggie likes. You emailed me your picks a little while ago, and I was like, come on, man. Same one. The same one. Because I want a spread in here. See, Greg Wolf and I were talking about this last week on the show. There's a race. There's going to be a race almost every day that you feel like it has you licked. Mm-hmm. This was it for me.
Absolutely.
This was it. I mean, and I'm sure we are in the majority today. Mm-hmm. That this is the race where it's just like, well, what am I supposed to do here?
You know, I even thought about Rachmaninoff, and maybe his chances are enhanced a bit.
He gets better, right? He's got to have a better chance now with the 5 out. Absolutely.
But he just feels like more of a turf horse.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
This race.
Don't cry, Maggie. It'll be okay.
Okay.
Maggie,
Maggie,
we're fine.
We got this. We got this. Look, you included Mr. Fantasy.
I did. I did. Well,
I watched him train the other day with John Atfield, and I was like, who is that? He goes, Mr. Fantasy. I was like, oh, geez. Because I liked the way he was going, but he's so untrustworthy.
I don't know what to do. I feel like the way... You remember in Independence Day when they take down the force field and you shoot it and it still was on, and then the second time you shot it, it was gone. I kind of feel like that's what I feel about Mr. Fantasy. Like, he got the first one out of his system.
Yeah.
He worked 47.
Right.
It's a bunch of untrustworthy horses. Now, like Rachmaninoff, he is helped by the scratch of Forgotten Mission. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, I don't know that yesterday when I'm putting the picks up on the website. I don't know that. Mm-hmm. But I'm always going to lean. Well, I shouldn't say always. I don't deal in absolutes here anyway. I'm going to lean more often than not with speed horses in these for these levels.
Because they don't. I mean,
especially going to 6, right?
Look, Maddie's Marauder, he hasn't shown a real propensity to want to pass horses.
He is not.
But he does show up, like I said, at this level. Papa Smooth did come back to win with a 74, winning nicely the other day. So
Magnificent Chrome Chrome was right on the wire in the Raven Rocks race.
Exactly, for the 25.
Looked home, turning for home. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, all of those things, the fact that there did look like there was, at the very least, some speed in here for him to just kind of sit 3-4 lengths off of and just pocket up and go by.
Yep.
I mean, we make it sound so simple for these 2 lives, but this one kind of, you know,
the fuzzy
makes
horse
a little sense.
Is Run Casper Run. He's never run this cheaply before. He comes back off the voided claim layoff, protected by Chris Englehart and My Purple Haze Stables. And, you know, you don't like to see this. Then they just go, give up and run him for the 16. So, but there is a horse in there that does have a little bit of talent.
He has to be included in any kind of multi-race bets because you almost can't hold his last race against him because he was just, number one, it was off the 9 months, and number two, he was just running against exponentially better than me.
Yeah.
So you have to respect a horse like him. Like I said, I use Mr. Fantasy in there. I think you make a good point for Rachmaninoff now.
I mean, I didn't use Rachmaninoff,
but again, we don't know if Forgotten Mission's going to come out, and Forgotten Mission has an awful lot of 1s on his card, so it's different. What about a horse like Eucharist?
Oh man, I thought Michelle Giangiulio, he's a horse that since he's run here in New York, which was up on August 1st, a complete mess. I mean, washed out, nervous, trying to flip over.
They thought
just
this horse was going to
doing
be okay last year.
okay, trying to do everything to not be conducive to him running well. Michelle did a great job. This is the first time I've ever seen this horse in his last start. Calm, saddled him on the walk, not an ounce of sweat on him. I was hoping for a better performance. Vaguely better, but still not good enough.
Right. Right. Jock's having a tough time winning here in New York as well. But these are the kind of horses that win these races.
Oh yeah, that
These are
jump
the kind
up
of
and get
horses
it
that
done.
win these races. They find their friends, they sit some sort of a trip, everything unfolds, and they're the ones that they're the red devil that comes splitting horses and say, "Oh man, Eucharist beat me at 1560."
Right.
Right? And
You're
you're just
like,
like
"Ugh."
scratching your head. I can't believe I didn't use him. So yeah, on a spread ticket, he's probably the other horse I would want. Like if he's the same price or a bigger price as Run Casper Run, he almost kind of inherits the fuzzy role.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Race number 6, make sure you spread in race 5, is a claiming 35 non-3 life, going the mile. And I think, I had it in my mind to have Opt, and when I did the picks before the Friday card came out, he's in a New York bred ALer then. This was a much better spot for him, in my opinion. But he's out, and that just leaves you to Peruvian Boy, doesn't it?
This was a default pick if there was ever a default pick in life. This is another race where, man, a lot of it just doesn't. There are a lot of horses in here I don't want to bet on, right? I don't want to bet on Roman Empire. For you Roman Reigns fans out there, you may want to bet on Roman Empire.
Oof, he was just never traveling at all in that last race.
That's the
Maybe he needed the race,
right.
but
Does he make? Was he in there to make the race go for untreated? Who knows? They went with 8, so he could have scratched. I mean, do you just run him at that point? Now he's first time for a tag, but his best races have come against restricted company, whether it be Florida Breds or the Claiming Crown, right? Down in the Sunshine Millions, rather. So all Florida bred races. Do you really want him?
Nope.
Perceived was the big ticket purchased, $140,000 under the pomp of dispersal. I don't know, given 140 for him. He's off a voided claim. We haven't seen him since the springtime.
but has races and consistently
He
has
does.
run races to win this,
He does.
whether it be
Right.
on turf or dirt.
Right. Tom's horse, Glory Road, who you have second, is kind of hard to endorse, even though he ran against stakes horses comparatively off his last race.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see Glory Road just a bit closer to.
Okay. And I tried Famished last time, and he didn't run 2 steps. And now you see a 10-pound bug rider. So process of elimination led me to Peruvian Boy off the claim, drop. Listen, Mike Maker off the drop, you don't like seeing it, but the fact of the matter is that's why the guy wins races. If it wasn't the best claim, and here's Peruvian Boy. This is beneath the Twin Spires at Churchill Downs.
He really doesn't do that much running.
No, he doesn't.
He just kind of clunks along for a
Yep.
second. He's lucky he was second. His
Yep.
yellow cap, black blinkers there.
He survives the others for a second.
Yeah.
That's what he does. He
Because
outlasts.
the only horse who ran here is the winner.
Only horse who ran was the winner. He outlasts the others for second. That's a terrible reason. That's a terrible reason to pick a racehorse.
It is,
Terrible.
but
But it's first time Maker, and you see, the drop is not going to be viewed as a good thing by most people. I think it is. He realizes he didn't make the sharpest of claims, right? Sure, if he would have been able to not take the horse after watching the effort, forget about the soundness or anything like that, just watching how he performed that day, he would have said, nah, I'll take a pass. But this is the game we play. So he has him. He's going to run him where he belongs, right? He took him out of Kentucky. He brought him up here. This is where he belongs. He belongs in for the 35. If they get a win and somebody snatches him today, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility, they claim everything around here.
you know what? I wonder because this is a horse that's run well on the synthetic. Why didn't he stay at Turfway? The purses are good
It
there.
was surprising. I was surprised. by
Maybe
that.
that's a positive.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
I think it's a positive. I think him dropping, and I think him bringing him to New York, he's trying to win with him. That's what I think, because he could have easily run this horse, right? This horse is eligible for the 2 other end. He could have run him in the 2 other end. He could have ran him on the poly down there. The pot's good, like you said, and he knows he runs well on the all-weather. I think it's a good sign that he's.
Yeah, there's been some intangibles there that could be interpreted negatively or positively.
Yeah.
I just couldn't really, cozy up to anyone else in here. Prince James looks a little bit threatening for the fact that he could be on top here because there's really no confirmed speed.
Correct. And the stretch out, I think I want him going a little longer. I like this flat mile for him.
I do too, but he's a little untrustworthy for the fact that he doesn't like to switch leads. His 2 races with the big figs at Colonial and Laurel, I think they were enhanced performances given the way the races played out. So
I hate betting on the Mid-Atlantic horses. I don't like the Parks. I don't really like the form from Parks and Delaware and Laurel. I don't.
You better watch that. Chris Griffin is in the booth.
I'm very
And you're
aware.
talking to a Maryland vet.
I'm very aware.
Okay.
Listen, I got
All right.
it. I'm
okay,
good.
You're lucky you're like 4 feet away from me. Kidding.
You're the second person that wanted to fight me today?
No.
Of your agenda?
I really don't.
You guys
We're Magany.
You guys want to fight?
We're Magany.
I know we are Magany. I know. We're Magany. But yeah, he's interesting because you're 3-1 favorite. We have a minute. I know Noda's going well. You really want anything taken from Todd Pletcher? I don't. You left this horse completely off the board. I wish I was as brave as you. Like I said, I went through my little diatribe about why I didn't like other horses. So based on his last race, which isn't great, but at the very least, he passed some horses. I mean, he beat, again, they couldn't have walked around the barn area and picked a better field for the 2 Life, but at the very least, he did some running and showed some life.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not totally against Giacare. I don't know.
That's how I feel about him. How could you be against him, but how could you really be excited about him?
No.
I mean, he comes out of that Boulders race where Boulders basically walked a dog on the front end.
Right. I thought he was going to do more running that day, and he disappointed me
But
completely. But those are better horses.
He really didn't get a pace, and they're better horses, right? Tommy came back and ran well in the starter and the open allowance. Yeah. So I'm using 4, 7, and 8.
A little bit of a confusing race. I don't like that I defaulted to Peruvian Boy, but I just felt.
And if you're telling me Glory Road's going to be closer, I would probably throw him in.
Well, I mean, blinkers on.
Intent, yeah, I would probably throw him in, just because I don't want 1s and 2s. I want nothing to do with 1s and 2s.
Yeah, the 1.
He's going to take money.
Yeah.
That horse is going to take money.
All right, race number 7. Big defection here with Life is Great coming out of this 2-year-old allowance race, going the 7 furlongs, but that's okay. EV Racing Stable, they still have Hagler in here for Rudy Rodriguez, as he does have a little bit of early pace. I don't think he beat any world beaters in his last start, but he did it the right way. Considering, too, he was coming off of a long layoff. He did it quite easily here. And, I mean, doesn't he control here yet again?
Mags, he's supposed to. I was looking forward to coming in here today and taking a look at the board and maybe just blasting the 1-2 buckle my shoe out. So the race loses a little luster for me. Not that the executive was going to be paying anything that was going to, pay the mortgage, but I'm just saying that was the one thing I felt pretty comfortable in today. It kind of leaves things a little up for grabs, I think, for the underneath spots. But like you said, I mean, this was as powerful an entry, right? This entry was probably under even money to run 1-2 today.
Yeah.
And this horse ran, and like you said, with the scratches, he's got to be gone. I mean, unless Southern Runner. Unless this kid coming up from Parks, Laprida, gets really aggressive, Jeremy Laprida, and this one showed a little more speed than he ordinarily does in the slop last time. Going 6, maybe stretching to the 7, I don't know. But tell you what, it's not like Jorge Vargas likes to take him out at the back and make one run. He's as aggressive as they come. So I would imagine he just controls him here. Like I said, race lost a lot of luster to me. I was looking to see if Life is Great could follow up that last performance, and I was looking to make a cold one too. So.
Well, Bold Leader, obviously we both defaulted into him being second here, but the horse that beat him was the other Mike Trombetta horse in that November 4th race, and he did come back, I thought, running really well, albeit 4th in the Remsen to improve his figure. He got this wide trip. He kind of made an early move too, and he still hung around. Obviously we saw Chad and Todd's horse just duke it out to the wire, and they were much the best, but I thought a good effort. And this guy, Bold Leader, last time he pressed 3 wide the whole way, where Mr. Jefferson just sat behind that pace stool, cozy spot, made it up the rail. And I thought this horse ran well in defeat, and I think a little less ground probably does him well, cutting back to the 7 furlongs.
And that was coming back in 3 weeks. He had done a lot of running from the middle of August, the end of August till the early November. Right now he gets a little bit of a freshening, 6 weeks between starts. He makes a lot of sense for second. I mean, with the scratch, what could this exacta be paying? $3?
Yeah.
Like literally, I mean, literally, this thing's gonna be $3. I guess Florida Gator.
The Bill Morey fans, which I think he does a great job. But so far, his horses of what he's run here at NYRA, he's only started 6. This is the only winner.
And he's eligible for the allowance condition, yet he's running them for the tag. I mean, he's not going to lose them, but
yeah.
Right?
He just looks slow. I mean, there has been no progression in 3 starts. You know,
None.
Maybe if he ran slow and then you would think there's maybe another forward move in here, but that's
and the fact that they ran him for the tag first time leads me to believe that he surprised them a little bit. Because after the tag race,
I don't know. He was 3.5 to 1 that day.
I don't disagree, Maggie, but you know, then
and
he
then
wasn't in. Now he's back in for the tag. I think he's back in for the tag today because you want to try and keep that condition, right? To take him, maybe he wants to take him out of town. You want to try and keep that condition, I guess, and you can win this race and then bring him right back and run him for without the claimant price. So, I mean, the odds of him getting claimed today are very slim.
Very slim. Race number 8 coming up. It's a maiden 40 for the 2-year-old New York breds going a mile. And as we see, it's kind of a lukewarm betting race, but most of the meat and potatoes of this race is concentrated towards the outside in Working Man's Dude, Devious Banker, and Convertible Freeze.
Yeah, they're the 3 most logical winners of this race. They're all stacked outside. Doesn't really matter coming out of the chute. I mean, what are you going to say? Working Man's Dude is supposed to, if he takes the next progression forward, right? He ran a couple of 6 furlong races, the 7 furlong race. If he finishes up in this today in the mile race the way he was finishing in the 7 furlong race, he's going to win.
Yeah, and he looks like a horse that wants to run long. He was wired in his first 2 by kind of loose on the lead types of horses, and last time he was close when they broke, then he got shuffled back. He just continuously lost position. And then when he switched out in the lane, he came on again, which I thought was promising. But still, I would have loved to see another step forward. Instead, he took a step back on the Beyer speed scale. Look, the same thing can be said for my horse in here, Devious Banker. Let's try to ignore his turf effort and focus in on his 2 dirt races. His first dirt race was really good. I thought close to a pace. That didn't necessarily fall apart, but the winner did have a perfect trip sitting behind it and really kind of stayed on. So the fact that he kind of stayed on in that race, blinkers on, I think they get aggressive with him with Jelon Samuel aboard.
Oh, yeah. This horse will be gone on the front end today.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be anyway. I worry about that a little bit. They're trying to get the Central Banker to go to mile, and they're going to put the blinkers on him and try and do it.
Honestly, the Central Bankers have been okay going mile.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, he was a sprint horse, but he's gotten his progeny to at least stretch out to that mile. And Harlan's Holiday on the bottom. So Convertible Freeze, he's going to be the other one to take money today for Brad Cox. He'll switch back to the dirt. He tried it in his first start against arguably better company in a maiden special weight up at Saratoga. In my notes, at least, Anthony, I wrote, doesn't really look like a turf horse. And his pedigree would say that kind of too.
Yeah.
I mean, Connect, you're getting distance dirt. And on the bottom, there's really no production in the first generation. The second dam was a stakes-winning dirt sprinter, although she was half to a stakes-winning turf sprinter. So, needless to say, there's some dirt pedigree.
Here's the biggest problem with him. He might not be able to run, period.
This is also true.
And he's going to be second choice.
Yeah.
Dropping down, Brad Cox, Manny Franco. He's going to be second choice. He might not be able to run at all. And I'm going to keep banging my head against the Empire Station wall. I know. And I deserve that look. I absolutely deserve that look. No question.
I mean, I banged my head for the first 2 times. He actually ran okay first time
I did it last time too. Blinkers, stretching out. You know what? That's more of a little insanity insurance for me.
Okay.
This way, if he wins and pays $19.40, I could say, oh, I had him third.
I mean, there's every reason to believe that he'll be on the front end 2 or close to it.
There's
Julius
another-
Baker's
there's also-
probably faster.
There's
but-
also a reason to believe that he can't run a step at all either, like convertible freeze. Me and Andy in the
And
the
he,
proverbial me
as
and
far
Andy
as
in the horse
pedigree goes, he looks like a sprinter. I don't see any part of this horse wanting to stretch out, at least physically
You're
and on
probably
pedigree.
right. You're probably right. Like I said, a little more. By the way, the last time I talked about insanity insurance on here, the
You cashed, you won.
I didn't hit it. I
Oh,
didn't play
oh.
it. Space Launch and the other Chad. Yeah, the other Chad. I bet the one Chad, and the other Chad ran second. I can't remember. Whatever we'll talk about.
All right, well, you're
I'm excited about Magny. I have to be
Magny.
honest.
And you're stuck with Magny all week.
All week you got Magny.
Also, we will have America's Day at the races tomorrow through Sunday, which you will be a part of as well, right?
No,
No, just kidding. Sorry.
it's okay.
Lafitte Benkai, he'll be in town though.
Lafitte's here.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Lafitte. Everybody
can
wants
you
to know where
not?
Lafitte is.
He's like the dreamboat. I'm just kidding. I mean, I love Lafitte.
Magny and Lafitte's the dreamboat. Go to Naira Bets. I'm gonna get Magny. I'm gonna get half of Magny out of trouble here today. Bonus 200, Magny.
All I can say is my husband would say the same thing.
Wow.
Anyway, Naira Bets, make sure you sign up. Use the promo code bonus200. Check out nairabets.com and don't miss the special wager on Saturday with Remington Park with that springboard mile, as Anthony said. As long as they're not running on Lasix, they do earn points to this year's Kentucky Derby. It's all kicking off. Make sure you opt in to earn that $20 win bet bonus.
Got to opt into everything. Don't forget that. Very important now. I think you could opt in. I think you could opt into that starting tomorrow.
I could see you like as a pop-up on the website in like a Grim Reaper outfit going,
Wow.
opt in, opt in.
That's terrible. Grim Reaper. What about?
I don't know.
I don't know. I was thinking something.
You seemed
else.
very serious in that.
What about like that?
Opt in.
Opt
okay,
in.
that's much
Like
better.
that?
Yeah, much
More of a cheesy salesperson.
It's all
Holding a
good.
big sign. Opt in. Opt in. Opt in. Everything must go.
Anyway, Chris Griffin, he is on the mic all week here. Johnny and I taking a little bit of a vacation. He'll be back after the holiday break, but Chris does a great job. He called at Belmont opening weekend for the fall meet, and looking forward to listening to him all week.
Yeah, he'll be maybe getting some pizza after our buddy, in the footsteps of our buddy Frank Miramati. So.
Ah, very nice. All right. Well, Chris will be coming up in just a few moments with a reprise of the Scratches and Changes. Good luck, everyone.